I went to a restaurant last night for a deal. Absolutely not what I was expecting.
Your podcast keeps coming up. Oh, really? Yeah.
PTing's a luxury, so not everyone can afford it. Take it.
Welcome back to another day in the life of me. I feel like every time I do an introduction to one of these, I always say the same thing, which is it's been so long since we've done one of these, and I know you guys like them, and I need to do more of them. So really, we are going to do more now. 8:30 in the morning, about to go to the gym. Every morning starts not just with work, but me giving a smelly baby a bottle of milk. I went to a restaurant last night for a deal. Absolutely not what I was expecting. I thought I was going to talk about running someone's social media and run the marketing for them. And when I got there, they ambushed me in a very nice way to try and sell me 2 restaurants and a nightclub, which I thought was well out of the bar and nightclub and restaurant game. Certainly not thinking about doing it here in Dubai. Very cool, very well branded restaurants, big names that you would definitely know. Possibly very creative deal to get in there, cheap to no money down. And I think for me, as you guys know, I do a lot of networking and a lot of entertaining in cool places. I think for me to actually own an internationally branded restaurant here in Dubai that I could use for entertainment purposes, for hosting, for branding, then I think it could fit into my portfolio very nicely. So big surprise, not what I was expecting. I'm going to work that deal up over the next couple of days, so watch this space. We're going to spend the day together. We're going to the gym today. I've got 2 hours of gym and stretching, 1 hour with my PT, 1 hour with my stretcher. I've got to get some more stretching done. I'm just so stiff, and I think as I'm getting old and more rigid, it's getting more noticeable for me. So 2 hours in the gym. We've got a few meetings, a few calls. I've got to record some content today for the newsletter, content for social, and we're just going to hang out as per usual, making a lot of calls, sending a lot of messages, and hopefully making a bit of money along the way too. So I'm going to get dressed. I'll see you in the car. Right, let's get out of here. See you later. She would like to do. It's a Friday morning on the way to the gym. As you know, I'm pretty obsessed with my gym, although my little belly over the last few weeks in Europe may tell a different story, but I always try and find a way to keep fitness in my calendar, in my life in some way, shape or form. I always do it in the morning, because I think if I don't get it out of the way in the morning, the day just takes over, whether that's because I get stuck into things at work, or I've had a drink at lunch, or whatever it may be. I love to do the gym in the morning. I think the best exercise you can do is the exercise that you love. If you love it, you'll stick with it. It's like, I guess it's like having a passion in business, but if it's a business that you're passionate about, you're going to put in more hours, you're going to put in more time, and ultimately, hopefully that time will lead to success. Morning. Have you missed me? 3 weeks. I've been back in England for a few weeks. Thank you. Well, imagine I've done nothing. Yeah. Okay.
All good. Yeah, everything I'm on Spotify, your podcast keeps coming up.
Oh really?
Yeah, so whoever's in the market is fucking smashing it.
What's been going on? What?
Commit to a diet plan. One day I will get you.
He's always moaning about my diet. The first thing I ever said to him when I came to train was, just don't talk to me about diet, I will never stick to it. I said, I've got more semi-sensible than I used to be, but I've also got addicted to the baby's lints as well.
Work in progress. We'll look at it the way we look at the weights. Yeah. Small
4% every day.
Small changes daily. Take it.
As you can see, we do a lot of talking. I could probably condense this 1 hour session into 25 minutes if I could put my phone away and keep my mouth shut.
PTing's a luxury, so not everyone can afford it, and when money's tight, it's the luxuries that go first. But here, not really an issue for a lot of people, so I feel that's a big part.
But while PTing's a luxury, fitness absolutely isn't, and that's got to be an essential. One of my big, turning points on what I did was during COVID, because I'd never really walked much before, and then obviously I had no choice but to fucking walk. I used to go out not just for my daily hour, but I'd take my phone and I would literally walk before, but I'd walk until my battery was dead. I mean, like 3-4 hours, come home, recharge my battery and go back out again, because I'd just be going out making my calls for work. And I think even if you haven't got oodles of time, or even if you don't like doing anything else, you know, to go for a walk and make calls, or walk and, you know, listen to a podcast or whatever. I didn't used to think it so much before, but oh, listen, work comes ahead of this, work comes ahead of that. But now I won't start work until I've done a good workout, because I don't care. I mean, people talk about, oh, you want to put some extra years on your clock. Years aside, I just don't want to be a fat fuck, you know, and I don't care how much money I've got. I don't want to have a load of money and be £300 and
not be able to play with the kids, for example.
Not be able to play with the kids, or listen, you know, you see all the rich guys who are fat and ugly and horrible, but they've got birds because they're paying for them. I mean, fine, you can have one you pay for, but I'd at least like one to come and get me, because I've got something to offer other than a bit of cash. And I might not have the six-pack, but you know, I'm not a bad catch. Find me at Matt Haycox on all things social. So it's stretching time now. I've known Elise for about a year. Stalked her in the gym when she was stretching someone else. I don't do any stretching on my own. I'm actually like so stiff beyond the point of being able to do anything myself. So, but I do appreciate I need it. So I don't see Elise anything like enough regularly, but I'm determined to try and touch my toes by the end of the week. So we'll see.
Torture time for him. So if you're more relaxed, if you're more flexible, then you've got deeper range of motion with your workout, but also it really helps recovery and injury prevention, because it strengthens all the ligaments and tendons and muscles, obviously. And you can basically do a lot more. You can move a lot more. You know, I've heard of people who like put their back out, putting their shoes on. And obviously, as you get older, you become stiffer. Everything seasons up a lot. But if you stretch regularly, you keep that sort of mobility through all your joints and muscles and ligaments, and yeah, basically it just keeps your body young and mind young. It's very good for reducing stress as well.
Thank God the gym's over. 2 hours of torture. I actually, as relaxing as stretching's supposed to be, I find the stretching more tiring than the personal training. I also feel an inch taller, so glad we did it. Anyway, on the way home, I don't know if I'm going to make the office today, but I've got hours and hours of Zoom calls and normal telephone calls. So jump in the shower, hopefully squeeze a sauna in, and let's get the zoom. I'm just about to go on a Zoom call with a marketing agency that we've been working with lately, just for the last 3 or 4 months, to try and supercharge the growth on my podcast, and it's worked. I mean, it's been unbelievable. I mean, we're like 20x up, 30x up on the number of downloads and number of subscribes, well, since before we used the agency. And it's all down to paid advertising. We've been doing a lot of paid ads on Spotify and on lots of podcast platforms I didn't even know existed. And if I can give anyone listening to this one piece of marketing advice when it comes to social growth, when it comes to any kind of online growth, you've got to be prepared to pay to play. I think there's a big thing about organic reach, you know, and people talk about, oh, I can grow an Instagram profile to X number of followers, I do all my content organically. Listen, if you can do something organically, great, it falls as part of your strategy, but you can't be afraid to spend money. I don't know if people don't like to do it because they almost think it's not authentic. If you've ended up in front of someone's eyes for free, it's better for your ego maybe, or maybe you just haven't got the budget. But if you have got the budget, you've got to spend it. It's a sea of saturation out there, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, podcasts, Twitter, whatever it is. There's too many eyeballs to fight through, and all you need to do is get yourself in front of as many eyes as possible, in front of as many ears as possible. And if that costs you money to do it, then pay that money. You probably don't realise that most of the biggest influencers out there spend absolute fortunes on paid media. You know, you look up your Grant Cardones, your Gary V's, your Ty Lopez's, and whoever the big people are in whatever niche you're interested in, the big fitness influencers, they spend big money. You can't get seen if you don't. So don't be afraid to spend, and I'm going to find out what these guys are saying about our campaign over the last few months.
The Spotify one was meant to run for a couple more days, but it finished this morning, which is great. It shows that there was a nice steady pace.
Yeah, actually, we went to the gym this morning and a guy came up to me and said, I don't know what you're doing on Spotify, but you're doing something right, because everywhere I turn, I'm getting hit by your advert.
No way,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That's what we love to hear. They're the best kind of metrics, to be fair. Like when you get feedback from people, hands down, the best kind of metrics.
Just as a total aside, why do people use Castbox? I mean, I can't get my head around why anyone uses anything other than iTunes or Spotify. You know, you're either Android or you're Apple, and you've got it free there in front of me. Why would you pay to use Castbox?
Pocket Cast is kind of like loads of tech people tend to use it. So I think certain people just gravitate to specific podcast apps. So yeah, Castbox is one of these ones where it's kind of like a high global audience and it's so easy to use, it's completely user friendly.
In terms of the targeting, how specific can the targeting be? You know, like on Castbox, for example, is it just a banner where you can say, I want it to be seen by business people? If you were listening in on that call, probably noticed I asked a lot of questions of the agency that we were talking with. Now, listen, I don't pretend to be a world expert in anything, but I do like to know enough about everything that I'm dealing with. For me, that's one of the massive downfalls of business owners when they deal with external agencies. You know, they just pass over the responsibility to the agency and trust them to get on with it. Now, if you don't know enough about what they're talking about, it's very, very easy for them to pull the wool over your eyes. So obviously this is in the context of podcasting. Look, obviously they know more about this than we do, but I know enough from learning to be able to know if they're trying to hoodwink me, if they're going to overcharge me, just keep them on the toes. So whatever your areas are, if you're going to outsource stuff to agencies, if you're going to delegate things down to staff, no problem, do that, but make sure you still take an active interest in learning about it yourself. Otherwise at some point you're going to get overcharged or you're going to trip up.